We got parts to perform, hearts to warm, kings and things to take by storm.
So gay.
Hi everybody, my name is Justin Gerhardt, the host of the GayMenChannel. Welcome to Gay for Justin. Last week we sat down with Louganis, 4-time Olympic Gold Medalist, who is openly gay and HIV positive. This week we wanted to focus on what happened when he went to the 1988 Olympics and then he hit his head on the diving board, went on to win 2 gold medals, and how that changed his life forever when later in the 90s he decided to openly come out as HIV positive. Alright, part 2, here we go. We're gonna go back to the Olympics.
Okay.
So you hit your head on the diving board in 1988 in Seoul.
6 months prior, I was diagnosed with HIV. We knew that we had to keep it a secret.
Choosing not to tell the doctor that stitched you up. What was the thoughts? I mean, there was so much happening so quickly.
I was terrified. I said in my book, Breaking the Service, that I was paralyzed by fear. And I truly was, because I was in a country that I would be thrown out had they known my HIV status. It was a question of whether I could continue.
Was this even a verbal conversation though? Because
no, it was all...
You can't just talk about this on the pool deck with your coach.
No. I mean, in my head, I was screaming, you know, I want to tell everybody, you know, don't touch me, don't touch me. I'm HIV positive. Dr. James Puffer sewed me up along with Dr. Ben Rubin, and they didn't have latex gloves on the pool deck. I didn't know what my responsibility was. So then, once I made the decision with my coach, Ron O'Brien, that we were going to continue, that I didn't want to give up without a fight, then I didn't have a chance to get over it. A lot of people think, how did you get over that and do your next dive? You don't have time to get over it. There was, I think, 22 minutes between dives. And so I had to get myself together, and it was like that dive never happened. It's my training too. As a dancer, you sprain your ankle,
the show must go on.
The show must go on.
Absolutely.
Okay, you deal with it. Right.
I mean, amazing that there wasn't a lot of blood.
Well, when you get a cut like that, it doesn't bleed automatically.
Gotcha. So it takes some time.
It takes a while for the blood vessels, and then I seem to remember, okay, I got out of the pool, I was holding my head, walked around the pool, and I was still holding my head, and as we were passing the judges and the audience going into this little room, there was, I think, maybe a little trickle of blood, and my coach pushed it back up in my hairline because he didn't want anybody to know that I was hurt. Because you're judged off the board as well as on the board.
So now that we know, this is from your interview with Barbara, it was clear that there was no way that somebody could have transmitted HIV from that experience in the pool. Dr. James Puffer, if he had a cut or something,
if he had a cut, an abrasion on his hand, or Dr. Ben Rubin, it's blood to blood.
Blood to blood. We know this now, and yet it's interesting how people still are like, so can I kiss you, or like, but that's part of this this process of explaining this to people. You're already on an international stage as a diver, and then you win the medals. Then you come out as being openly HIV positive. What was that like to be thrown into the fame of that again? Being on Oprah, being on Barbara, being Larry King.
My first interview was with Barbara. She got the exclusive. And then I got a call from Oprah. She had called Barbara Walters asking if she could do an interview with me on Thursday. That I fly to Chicago on Wednesday.
Now this is before it was released.
This is before Barbara.
Wise choice, Oprah.
And so Oprah called Barbara directly and said, I promise not to air before yours. You have the exclusive. You're on Friday. Friday night, 2020. And then Oprah said, we're taping the show on Thursday. It was so surreal because Barbara Walters aired Friday, I was on Oprah on Monday, and it was just incredible. I was on book tour.
Right. So how long did that continue rising?
Well, we were #1 New York Times bestseller for 5 weeks. And it was so funny because that is not my world. And Eric Marcus, I mean, we called and said, oh, we're New York Times bestseller. And he's like bouncing off the walls. Like, come the 5th week, he said,
We're still number one.
Still number one.
Thanks so much for watching part 2 of my Gay for Justin series with Greg Louganis. See you next week. Have a good weekend. Y'all stay fabulous now. Come back next week where we sit with Greg and talk about how the world of diving and the world of sports has changed and is now working towards accepting gay culture as a part of the sport community.